First of all, I think the question is there really a disengaged parent? Mm-hmm. I grew up with a father who was never present at school because he had to work hard. However, he was still an engaged parent. Right. I think we need to acknowledge the different ways in which families are engaged, and that is not just the parent but other members in the household who are involved in the educational process of our students. And so I think if we acknowledge the different ways that they're involved and not just at the school level, then we can consider the fact that all our families are probably engaged in one way or another, whether it's taking that child to school or waiting with them at the bus stop or bringing home a meal to cook, but they are engaged in some way. They may not be able to attend school activities because of the time of day that those activities occur and the fact that they need to work and be at school. But we need to begin as an education system to understand and acknowledge the different ways that the members of the household are engaged in the lives of our students. Families like to feel valued. They want to know that they are being celebrated. And so looking at activities that celebrate families is a way to help them be more engaged according to the definition of what schools see as engaged, but also ways in which you can think outside of that box and celebrate them in the homes. Families also value communication. So in order to engage our families, then it's very important to make sure that our communication is dynamic, that it's in languages they understand, that it's in a format that they can access very easily. And that is fabulous. Families also want to see themselves represented in the schools. So schools need to look at their hiring practices, for example, in terms of diversity. Are families seeing their culture, their ethnicity represented in the schools? They want to be represented. One of the ways we can do that is we bring pictures of families. We ask students to bring the pictures of their families into the school. But we also need to integrate that on a regular basis in the curriculum. And then looking at hiring practices of our teachers and staff to make sure that there's a diversity. Families already feel left out whenever they're from diverse backgrounds. So just looking at how extensive we can be in the school system to acknowledge our families. And then that way, they will be naturally engaged because they feel connected in one respect or another. So just looking at those different practices to engage our families. We need to have an asset-based approach. If we focus on resources that are limited, then we will forever say that we're not able to do this or do that or accomplish this task or that task. We therefore need to approach it from an asset-based perspective. So let's look at how we can integrate what we're already doing into other strategies rather than say, well, we need funding to get this done. We should look at the fact that we have a curriculum that we use every day. Well, how can we integrate family engagement in that curriculum? Yes, you're going to bring a picture of your family to school. Well, let's talk about it almost twice a month, per se, and then bring that value-added perspective into what we're already doing to engage our families rather than look at it as we do not have the money to get this done. So let's begin to have an asset-based mindset rather than a deficit-based, and we can begin to be creative and diverse in our thinking to engage our families and to utilize the different strategies that are recommended. So our mobile students, we have to take that from a district level, a school level, and a classroom level. When you think about mobile students, we have to understand that they're not ready for learning if their hierarchy of needs are not met. And so think about Maslow's hierarchy. We will have to begin to address those basic needs before we are going to think or be able to have them be permanent or stay within that school system. So from a district level, perhaps one of the things we could think about is doing those interagency connections. So connecting with the community and seeing how we can get the needs addressed, housing, shelter, food, and so on, and address those first basic needs. From a school level, we have to make sure that we create a very welcoming environment for these students. They are going to need an immediate connection, an immediate acknowledgement, so that they attach themselves. And if you think about families, they're going to listen to their students. They're going to listen to what those students have to say. And if those students come home and say, school was great and I felt connected and I felt valued and I felt appreciated, then that's going to mean a lot to the families. And it's going to impact that psychological aspect of, oh, maybe this is a space we can stay for a longer time. And then at the classroom level, we have to make sure that we're communicating to those students and we're valuing those students and they're being appreciated on a deeper level as well. That information is there, that the connection to the curriculum is there, so that they're able to transition smoothly from one stage to the next in their academics. And if they do leave, then provide the resources, provide a smooth transition for them to move on to the next space. But just kind of valuing where they are in that space and making sure that we are providing the resources for them in that space there and then if they move on, the resources that they need to move on to the next space. So it's very important to just provide what is needed at the district, school, and classroom level. It is not, the onus is not on any single entity, but it's on the span of the school district, right? So that would be my recommendation to engage in families, is to look at it at all levels and to make sure that we are providing for their basic needs. We cannot fulfill those needs, but let's have the resources to help them meet those needs so that they're ready to learn and they're ready to stay.